We are back at it again, ranking the next season of Love, Death and Robots. This time we're ranking season 3. Season 3 is a unique season of this entire show, I'd say, because out of season 1, 2, and 4, I can't with honesty say that any of the episodes of season 3 are bad. Made it a lot harder to rank them. There's 9 episodes in the season, so it's still nowhere near the length of season 1. But like I said, none of them are as bad as the worst of season 2 or the worst of season 1. And we're starting the ranking off with a very unique episode. So right at the bottom of my list, sorry if you're a fan of this, but it's Night of the Mini Dead. Now this is episode 4 of season 3, and it's a more unique style to the animation because it's completely made with miniatures. I assume they used stop motion, but they could have done CGI with it. Could be wrong. Basically, this couple defiles a church. That's what the Wikipedia says. They defile it, and they accidentally raise the dead and cause a zombie apocalypse. Basically, zombies just take over the world and start killing everyone. Humanity tries to fight back, but just make it worse. And the president eventually just launches all the nukes. The president of the US launches all the nukes, and the rest of the other countries do the exact same thing, and Earth is destroyed. It's very concise. It's a short episode, and it goes very quickly because it's like sped up. It's good. It's a fun episode. It is the worst of the season, but that's by no means to say it's a bad episode. It's just not as good as the rest.
Jupiter confound it!
On to number 8, we have The Very Pulse of the Machine. This is episode 3 of the season. And you remember, if you've watched my first video on this, you'll know I'm not a big fan of artsy episodes. This is a very artsy episode, but it's saved by having a really beautiful art style. Even right at the end, the way they did the animation looks really good. This astronaut's left alone on the surface of, is it Io? Yeah, it's Io. One of Jupiter's moons, I think. And her oxygen starts running out, and she tries to get herself across the moon to her landing craft. Then she starts to hallucinate from taking medication for a broken limb, and she believes to hear the planet communicate with her. She views the moon as a machine. She wakes up eventually and jumps into a river of like this liquid and becomes a part of the moon. It makes it seem as if her hallucinations were real. It's also interesting. It leaves a lot of space. It's a longer episode. It's not bad.
Oh shit! A rat! There's a rat! There's a motherfucking rat!
On to number 7, we have Mason's Rats, which is, coincidentally, episode 7 of the season. So, this is a Scottish episode. Who doesn't love the Scots? The farmer finds rats in his barn that are becoming smarter. They're using tools like crossbows and shit like that because they're eating his genetically modified crops. So they're becoming smarter. He uses this pest control company which puts lasers and stuff in his barn, and he eventually buys a robot that attacks the rats. The robot does really well, but after a while he becomes sympathetic towards the rats because of he sees the rats having like this final stand against the robot, and he becomes inspired by them and decides to help save them. And by the end of the episode, he sits with the rats, has a drink, and he's just happy. He also cancels the check for the company. That's what it says on the Wikipedia page, and I can't remember that. But yeah, it's a very wholesome episode.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Next, we have number 6, which is Jabaro. This is gonna piss people off. This is the final episode of season 3. And I see a lot of people from online say Jabaro is the best episode of the season. I do not think it is. I think it is. When I first watched the season 3, I hated this episode completely. because the style felt like shaky cam. And it felt like an acid trip in a way. But rewatching it, I do realize that a lot of the animation in it is incredible. It must have been extremely difficult to do the small detail. And I think for that alone, I appreciate it. The storyline's not bad, but I think the animation itself makes it very unique. So it's about a group of conquistadors that are traveling through the forest and are ensnared by a siren. The siren causes most of them to kill each other except for one, which is a knight named Jabaro, named the episode, and he's deaf. So he manages to escape because he can't hear the siren call. She gets interested and they sort of become romantically involved. They don't sleep together, but eventually he freaks out after she bites him and he knocks her out, takes her gold and jewels and wounds her pretty badly to the point which you think she's gonna die. So he throws her into the river and tries to run away with the loot. Her blood seeps into the water and I don't know why, but he drinks from it. When he drinks from it, it heals his hearing, and what comes around goes around. Now that he can hear her siren's call. She does her call, he follows it and dies. He kind of got what he deserved in the end, but also, I mean, she bit him. It's weird. It's a very weird episode. It feels like a B-movie with shaky cam. And it's kind of cool.
Not you again!
Next we have episode 5 of season 3, and this is 3 robots. Well, yeah, not episode 5. This is number 5 on my ranking. This is actually the first episode of the season. It is 3 robots exit strategies. Now, this is the first sequel we'll ever have in the show, and it's a follow-on to 3 robots. The robots are still on Earth, still looking around the planet, and this time they're looking at places where people try to survive the apocalypse. They go to a camp for the poor, and then an oil rig for the rich, which is kind of cool. And they find out that the very richest of the Earth built rockets to go colonize Mars. The plans failed, and apparently it's revealed that humanity had more than enough resources to save their world, but they were too greedy. Now, the prequel episode in season 4 is gonna kind of mess with this, but the only shuttle that ended up leaving Earth had a whole bunch of intelligent cats on it. This is going to play more into the prequel episode, but my issue with this episode more comes into what the prequel that came out in season 4 revealed. It feels like the whole lesson of this episode didn't quite work. But it's still a good episode, it's still enjoyable. Now on to number 4 on my ranking, that's Kill Team Kill. This is episode 5 of the season. Now, what sounds cooler than Green Berets fighting a giant grizzly bear that can launch rockets? This is basically what it is. A group of Green Berets are sent to investigate some killings at this base, and they find a cybernetically enhanced grizzly bear. Throughout the entire time, they have to try and fight this creature, and they're able to eventually take it down with a bit of a tragic ending, but it's a fun, balls to the walls episode. I think you'd get a lot of enjoyment out of watching it if you're not taking it seriously.
Welcome to the swarm!
Now we're into the top 3 episodes of the season, and all 3 of these episodes are excellent. In fact, one of these episodes is my favorite out of the entire 4 seasons of the show. So number 3, third place, is Swarm, episode 6. This is again another one which, when I first watched, I didn't really enjoy it. But now that I come back to it, I think, okay, it's a bit more profound. The animation obviously is still incredible, but it's a good episode. This researcher arrives on an alien planet that's inhabited by this strange race. Him and another researcher, it's a man and a woman. They explore the hive, and it's built up of different alien species that have been absorbed by this swarm race. The guy reveals that he was sent there to actually exploit their information. And they start doing experiments on it. despite also getting intimate throughout. The experiments trigger a response from the swarm, which assimilates the woman by force, kind of gruesome, and threatens to assimilate the man. They reveal that the reason those other alien races are in their planet, in a way, is because they also tried to assimilate them or experiment on them. And the hive absorbs these species, builds better versions of them, and then takes out those species with them. And he threatens to do the same to humans. Well, not threatens, they're going to do the same to humans, and the guy takes the offer as a challenge, saying that the humans will never fall to this. Which I don't think they do, because we're humans, and we should not. But yeah. Then we have number 2 on our list, which is also episode 2 of the season. This is Bad Traveling. Bad Traveling is a fucking cool episode. It is the longest of the season, if I'm not incorrect. So a giant, like, human-eating crab gets aboard this ship and kills most of the crew. The crew has to try and find a way to deal with the crab. Eventually, they're able to, or one of them is, at least. And it's just basically man against this giant monstrous crab that's telepathic. It's got an excellent voice cast. The animation's beautiful with the rain effect and all that. It's a really good episode. Definitely deserving a number 2. But it comes nowhere near number 1 on my list. Number 1 on my list is Invaulted Halls Entombed. That's the 8th episode of the season, and it's about this team of mercenaries that are sent to rescue a hostage. It starts off very basic. You don't think it's going to be too serious, but when they get inside the mountain where this hostage is being held, they find the bodies of the hostages and the insurgents that took them, that they've been eaten by these weird spider monsters. The team, a whole bunch of them die to the spiders and other traps, and eventually there's only 2 survivors that make it to this next chamber. And it's cosmic horror at its peak. They find out that this chamber deep inside this mountain is holding this giant eldritch monster. It looks like Cthulhu. And the monster makes them slowly lose their minds. It convinces one of the mercenaries to try and release it. So the other mercenary kills him. Then the deity tries to get the other one to release it, and it just cuts to black. Right at the end, we see the surviving mercenary walking through the desert with her eyes gouged out and her ears cut off, because she obviously did that to prevent the creature from commanding her what to do, but it still affected her because she's not speaking in English by the end of the episode. She's speaking some other gibberish. I love cosmic horror. And for this to be such a good episode, even though it has Jabaro following it, which isn't the greatest, but this is definitely the best episode in the entirety of Love, Death and Robot. I don't care what anyone says. If you enjoyed the ranking, please let me know. And as always, if you disagree with me, let me know why. Tell me what you think is the best episode of the season. I'll tell you if you're wrong, of course, but let me know if you enjoyed it. If you agree with me, great. And if you haven't seen any of these episodes, go and watch them. I know I've spoiled a whole bunch of them, but still, watch the episodes for yourself, see what you think. And have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.